Hello, this is Rich Kale here on YouTube, Rich Gen X elsewhere, and it is time to return to the cases in Lamplight City. Now, we had just arrived at the publisher, we looked around a little bit, and now it's time to talk to Alan.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Brentwell.
Wonderful! It's so seldom I get to answer questions.
What can you tell me about Desiree Lathan?
Desiree Lathan. Oh, why, she came to me a few weeks ago in response to an ad I took out requesting articles. She told me she had an idea readers would love. We agreed on 10 crowns per paragraph, and she was on her way. Come to think of it, I haven't heard from her in a few days.
Were you aware that Miss Lathan is dead?
What? No, I had no idea. What happened?
I'm not exactly sure. She seems to have burned to death under mysterious circumstances.
Mysterious circumstances?
Most of her body was burnt to ash, but there's very little fire damage around her. It's as though she herself just caught fire.
Oh, that sounds positively ghastly. Oh dear.
Is something wrong?
I just remembered. The article she was writing. Dear God. I hope she didn't go too far with her research.
What exactly was Desiree's article about?
I'm not entirely sure. She merely came to me with the proposal.
She didn't tell you what that idea was?
She did, but I wasn't sure what to make of it.
But what's it,
Please,
man?
Mr. Brentwell, stop stalling and tell me what she was writing about.
It was about spontaneous human combustion.
Whoa!
What do you know about spontaneous human combustion?
That's the thing. I don't know very much at all. It sounded interesting enough. That's why I accepted Miss Lathan's proposal to write the article about it.
But what do you know about it?
Only that it's a mysterious phenomenon in which a person catches fire spontaneously and burns to death. It sounds exactly as you described Miss Lathan's condition.
Do you know what Miss Lathan's research on the subject involved?
Only the one contact I gave her, a Miss Angela Maxwell at the Spectre Society in Gascon.
Angela! Again!
The Spectre Society, huh? Shouldn't be surprised to hear that name again.
Are you a member?
Actually, I am.
Then I suggest you do some research there. There's bound to be something relevant in that curious library of theirs.
Thank you. Perhaps I will.
Yeah, I remember something about human combustion.
Tell me about Brentwell Magazine.
We're a monthly publication focusing on both fiction and non-fiction pieces.
Ah, yes, you're publishing that serial, aren't you? The Dissembling Mechanism?
You're a subscriber! Tell me, what did you think of the conclusion? Quite astonishing, wasn't it?
I haven't had a chance to read it yet, I'm afraid.
Then I won't say any more about it. My dream was to have a magazine that was well-respected and educational. But sadly, it seems today's audiences are much more interested in reading about sightings of giant bat creatures or mysterious buried treasures. Such a pity.
I hear you have a bit of a reputation for making your reporters do questionable things for their articles.
You are mistaken, Mr. Fordham. I don't force my writers to do anything. They seem to have this notion that the more extreme their research, the more authentic the articles will be.
What sort of extremes are we talking about here?
We had one writer who attempted to heighten the sensation of fear she wanted to express in her story. Damn near decapitated herself by sticking her head through an opening at the clock tower at St. Denis Cathedral. Ugh. Thankfully, she made it out alive. It would have been quite the predicament if she hadn't. Especially considering that was our most popular article last year. Oh, people have such odd taste.
Well, this is true.
What made you decide to start this business?
I always wanted to be a journalist. I never had much luck with any of the local papers, though. So I decided to start my own. I admit it's not exactly what I wanted, but I like to think Brentwell Magazine has found its own unique voice.
Voice? More like a gurgling scream.
Thanks for your time, Mr. Brentwell.
The pleasure is all mine.
Well, back to the Spectre Society. Ironic that comes up again.
Welcome back, Mr. Fordham.
Well, let's talk, Angela. We have some...
Could I ask you about some things, Miss Maxwell?
Certainly, darling.
Are you familiar with a woman named Desiree Lathan?
Yeah.
Yes, she came to see me last week. She told me she was doing research for an article she was writing for Brentwell Magazine.
What sort of research?
She asked me a few questions and looked at my notes. That was all. She wasn't here for very long.
And what was she researching?
Something about spontaneous human combustion, I believe.
Okay.
What can you tell me about spontaneous human combustion? I'm not overly familiar with the subject, but I do have a book about it on the shelf there. You are welcome to look at it if it will help.
I may, but I'd like to know what your understanding of this is.
Well, I believe when one human body inexplicably catches fire and burns. It usually appears among elderly women and drink excess, and very little fire damage caused to the body. That's really all I know, darling. It's not a very agreeable subject for study now, is it?
No, I wouldn't think so.
Did you know Desiree Lathan is dead?
What? My God, no. I didn't. What happened to her?
She was found to death there, bed.
How awful.
You have any idea how this happened?
There are a number of possibilities, but if she was in the middle of researching spontaneous human combustion, and then to have this happen, it can't be a coincidence.
Are you suggesting she herself was a victim of spontaneous combustion?
One need only compare the circumstances of the facts, darling.
She can't be serious, can she?
Thank you for the information. It was very enlightening.
It was my pleasure, darling.
Alright, well, let's go back to the bookcase. Okay, Arts of the Seance. Terrors of the Deep, the Giant Squid, which has actually been proven to be... Oh, wait! Mysteries of Spontaneous Combustion.
This all sounds strangely familiar, but spontaneous human combustion can't be real, can it? Then again, sometimes the simplest explanation is the correct one.
Spontaneous human combustion is a highly controversial subject, but remains popular among scholars and aficionados of the occult and unexplained. The term refers to the death from a fire originating without any apparent source of external ignition. The fire is believed to start within the body of the victim. In the 1823 book Medical Jurisprudence states the commonalities in recorded cases of spontaneous human combustion, including the following. Victims are chronic alcoholics. They are usually elderly females. The hands and feet usually fall off. The fire causes very little damage to things around the body. A residue of greasy, fetid ashes is left behind. Most physicians and investigators strongly believe that spontaneous human combustion is a product of alcoholism. Okay. She was a drinker! Okay.
I'll be going now.
May the spirits guide you to that which you seek.
But was she a drinker? Let's talk to this lady here, Charlotte Robineau.
Miss Robineau?
Oh, it's you again. Have you come to ask me more questions?
Yes, if you wouldn't mind.
No. Be my guest.
Let's see about Peter Andrews.
Is the name Peter Andrews familiar to you?
Peter Andrews? Is he still around?
I'd be able to tell you that if you told me who he is.
Yeah.
He's desperate. That's who he is. A
No.
lovesick fool who is obsessed with Desi. Sent her love letters all of the time.
Well, you know where I can find him.
Why would you want to?
Because I want to question him about Miss Lathan's death.
I suppose that makes some sense. All I remember Desi telling me is that he worked at the Bank of Vespuccia, a clerk or some such. Imagine.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Okay, actually,
Thanks for your time. I'll let you get back to your drink.
Thanks, sweetheart.
that has now given me a new location, I bet. Yep, there we are. Bank of Vespuccia.
Mr. Fordham.
Oh.
Ah, Mr. Dupre. Good to see you again. Is all well with you?
Absolutely. Everything is wonderful. Because of you, this city has finally seen Laura Dupre for the monster she is. I cannot thank you enough.
Well.
I suppose you're welcome?
Now then, is there anything I can help you with?
Yes, I'm looking for Peter Andrews. I was told he worked here.
That's right. His desk is just over there.
Thank you, Mr. Dupre. Lovely seeing you.
Well, there he is.
What an absurd contraption. Imagine needing all those extra bits and bobs just to tell the time. I tried using one of these automatic money dispensers once, but I nearly got my arm stuck inside. They still got a long way to go. Yeah, impressive bit of hardware. It would take a criminal mastermind to rob this bank.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's the only thing it can do.
Mr. Andrews.
Yes?
Miles Fordham, private investigator. May I ask you a few questions?
Yes, I suppose that would be fine. Have a seat.
I'd rather stand. It's all the same to you. Now then. Do you know Desiree Lathan?
Yeah.
Desiree Lathan? No, I can't say the name rings any bells.
You say you don't know Miss Lathan. Would you care to explain these?
Why are they crumpled up? Did she throw them out? And why do you have them?
I just love catching people like this.
Relax, Mr. Andrews. Let's take this slowly. Now, I can assume by your reaction that these are your letters?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
So why did you lie about knowing Miss Lathan?
I promised my wife I would cut off contact.
But you clearly didn't. The most recent letter is from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Did she hire you?
Your wife? No, that's not why I'm here.
Ah, well, that's somewhat of a relief then.
No. You're not gonna like this.
Were you aware of Miss Lathan's death?
What? Desiree is dead?
Yes.
No.
She was found burned to death in her bed.
You're lying. You have to be.
I'm afraid I'm not, Mr. Andrews.
Oh, Desiree.
Do you have any idea who might have wanted to kill her?
No, she was a marvelous woman.
Well, I'm sorry to have to be the bearer of bad news, but at least you won't have to worry about writing any more letters.
That isn't funny, Mr. Fordham.
Yes, it was. Don't listen to him.
It's dark humor. I didn't find it especially funny at the moment. I'll probably laugh about it later.
So your wife knows about your correspondence with Miss Lathan?
Well, I don't know if you could really call it correspondence. Desiree never wrote back. But yes, Peggy, that is to say Margaret found out shortly after we married.
Exactly how many letters did this bounder send, I wonder?
Yeah.
At first I tried to make it out that she was just a friend, but she found one of the more intimate ones while I was writing it.
I see. And what was her reaction?
What do you think? I still have the scar from the glass that she threw at me.
You're still married?
Oh yes. Margaret comes from a very strict Catholic family. They would sooner she die than divorce. It hasn't been easy. She makes sure to take full advantage of the situation. Always buying herself the most expensive jewelry and spending a fortune on food for those wretched cats. I swear, they're better fed than I am.
Where might I find Mrs. Andrews? I'd like to speak to her.
Our house is at 713 Longfellow Street, just at the edge of Gascon. But I warn you, it's a goddamn menagerie she's got. I'd stay away if you're averse to being covered in animal hair.
I'll take my chances.
Well, we're finding out more and more.
Exactly what is your role here at the bank?
Yeah.
I'm the manager. I handle the new accounts, organize finance, that sort of thing.
Have you been here long?
Coming up on 17 years. Is this at all relevant to your investigation?
Anything could be, Mr. Andrews. Thanks for your time, Mr. Andrews.
Yes. 17 years at a bank.
We haven't got anything else to...
Yeah, right. I say he's working at the bank. Oh, we're really getting more information.
Nice house. It definitely screams, eccentric person lives here.
Yes.
Speaking of which, that must be Mrs. Andrews over there with those rodents.
Squirrels!
Rats with fluffy tails. How anyone can find them endearing is beyond me.
I like squirrels. Squirrels are neat.
Excuse me, Mrs. Andrews?
May I help you?
I'm Miles Fordham, private investigator. I was hoping you could answer a few questions.
All right then.
All
Don't
right.
worry, my darlings. Mommy only needs a moment to speak to the nice man, then I'll give you all the nuts you can eat. My little friends just adore nuts, Mr. Fordham.
Guess that explains why squirrels are so attracted to her.
Yeah.
Did you know Desiree Lathan?
Not personally. I never met her, but I knew exactly who she was.
Yeah.
And who was that?
A miserable drunk. Always going out and getting liquored up at her so-called socialite balls. They try to make them seem so fancy and high class, but it's really just a bunch of bitter old hags getting together to gossip about each other. With that kind of lifestyle, it was only a matter of time before it caught up with her.
Uh-huh.
Do you happen to know anything about the circumstances surrounding the death of Miss Lathan?
I read in the paper that she was burned to death. In her bed, wasn't it?
That's right. Do you have any idea how that may have happened?
Well, I already told you she was a drunk. Maybe she came home plastered and decided to smoke in bed. I'm rather surprised she was sleeping alone. That woman got around, if you know what I mean.
She certainly seems to know a lot about Desiree for someone who claims to have never met her.
Yeah.
Do you have any hobbies or pastimes, Mrs. Andrews?
Well, of course. I do a bit of knitting and I take care of my pets.
I take it you're fond of animals?
Oh, yes. I just love animals. Most prove to be better company than people.
Is that right?
Well, consider this, Mr. Fordham. Animals can't betray you or lie.
Uh-oh, I don't like where this is going.
My furry little companions would never hurt me. Unlike several humans I could name.
Who are these companions, exactly?
Why, my darling little kitties and squirrel friends, of course.
Okay.
Tell me about your cats.
Yeah.
They're the most wonderful little dears. Do you have any pets?
Afraid not. My wife isn't too fond of cleaning up after animals.
Pity. Cats make wonderful pets. They're good company and are independent, unlike dogs. Edgar and Hubert are my pride and joy. I give them only the best of everything, and they in turn give me their unconditional love.
That's delightful.
I used to have a wonderful cat named Tobias, but, oh, he had an unfortunate accident. That's why I never let my two angels out of the house.
I see.
What happened to Tobias the cat?
Yeah.
Oh, I really rather not talk about that. It wasn't my finest hour. Let's just say it was an honest misunderstanding which got blown way out of proportion.
Well, now I just have to know what happened. I hate it when people tease gossip and don't deliver.
Your squirrel friends are quite tame.
Oh,
Yeah.
aren't they just the sweetest? And so smart, too.
Yeah.
When I feed them, they come up and put their little paws on my hands as though they were giving me little squirrel hugs. And the way they look into my eyes, I can almost hear them saying, "Thank you for the nuts."
Well, at least you can be grateful that it's only my voice you hear and not some rabid squirrels.
Thank you for the chat. It was very enlightening.
Yeah.
Oh, my pleasure, Mr. Fordham. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to tending to my little darlings.
Go ahead. Let's go back to the bank. Maybe we can find out what happened to that squirrel. Or to Tobias.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes?
is there anything you can tell me about your wife's old cat, Tobias?
Yeah.
Oh, God. There's a name I was hoping never to hear again. She loved that cat. I'm sure she would have married it instead of me if she could.
Mangy little bastard was always leaving a mess and knocking things over, but he was Peggy's little angel.
Yeah.
Then one day I'd had enough, so I let him outside, and...
Yes?
the stupid thing managed to get itself killed. Then things got ugly.
How so?
Peggy got a bit carried away, and... well, let's just say I never imagined a cat could earn someone a criminal record.
The plot thickens. Or perhaps sickens.
Yeah. A criminal
Thanks
record.
for your time, Mr. Andrews.
I know where to find out about criminal record.
I don't think I've ever seen...
Okay.
Got a moment, Upton?
Yes, but let's make this quick.
Yeah.
I need some information on one Margaret Andrews. Apparently, she has a criminal record.
Margaret Andrews, eh? Give me a moment to look her up in the archives.
Okay.
Yes, here we are. Margaret Andrews was brought in for questioning 5 years ago in connection with a fire at a theater in Worcester.
Oh?
Oh?
Yes. Nothing came of it, but she was briefly a suspect. Oh, there's more. She also had a prior conviction for arson.
You don't say.
Interesting.
The file says she set fire to a cab after the driver ran over her cat. She served 6 months in prison for that. This was back in 1835.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Thank you for your help, Upton. This has been extremely valuable.
So, Margaret Andrews has a jealous streak and a penchant for setting things on fire. Seems a likely culprit to me.
Yeah. I wonder if I can review the case with
Have a moment to go over my current case?
I'm afraid you're on your own this time, Fordham. The walls have ears around here.
Okay.
If they find out I'm helping you, it won't end well for either of us.
Understood.
I'll still be here when you've solved it, though.
Okay.
That's it for now.
Better get back to it, then.
That's an interesting little fact I did not expect. Let's see. Let's go back to the residence. Ah, good. Let's talk.
I've managed to survive the wild streets of New Britannia.
Good to see you've made it back in one piece.
Yeah. Let's talk with Adelaide. Let's find out some information if she knows
Addie?
anything.
What is it, Miles?
You've got an appointment with Charlotte Robineau later today, don't you?
Are you using your detecting skills on me now?
I spoke with her at the Gascon Supper Club, and she mentioned you. Turns out she knew Desiree Lathan.
Makes sense. That social circle is tiny.
She wasn't very forthcoming, though. Do you think you might try and persuade her to talk?
Persuasion shouldn't be necessary. She usually just sits in the chair and starts gossiping up a storm. I think I know more about all the Gascon Grand Dames than anyone should.
That's good. That's very good. I think there's a few more things I need to clear up before I'm ready.
Okay, just let me know when you are.
Okay.
Was Desiree Lathan a client of yours by any chance?
No, but plenty of the other Grand Dames used to gossip about her.
What sort of things would they say?
Yeah.
Usually they'd comment about how much she'd had to drink the night before. I got the impression she was quite the tippler. I hope you're not planning on following her example.
That would require me to burn to death in our bed.
Then I stand by my previous statement.
All right.
About your appointment with Charlotte.
What about it?
Right. These are the things I want you to ask her about.
So you want me to take off about an inch, but keep enough for your curls?
Yes, that's right. You know how I like it, Adelaide.
Well, let's see. I don't know what I should ask first, but let's
Has
keep the
anyone
small talk.
special caught your eye recently?
No, I think I'm getting too old for most of the young pups I see around these days. Besides, marriage has proved to be more trouble than it's worth. I'm finished with that whole game.
Good for you.
Although there was one fellow who came into the supper club today. Pity he was only interested in asking questions.
Oh?
Yes, the dark brooding type. Sleepless nights etched all over his face. Still handsome, though. I invited him to join me for a drink, but he refused. Turned out he was a private investigator, if you can believe it.
Oh? What was he asking about?
Nothing of consequence. I didn't tell him very much anyway.
Probably for the best he didn't join you for that drink then. How was the Grand Dame's ball? Was your hairdo a hit?
Oh, it was. All those other old biddies were practically fainting with jealousy. Truth be told, though, the evening was rather dull. Just the regular crowd of wags and gossips. You know, sometimes I envy people like you, Adelaide.
People like me?
Yes, you know, ordinary people. Being a member of high society can be so draining. One quite lacks a sense of purpose, of ordinary, honest usefulness that comes from a good day's labor.
Have you done much of that sort of labor yourself, madam?
What? No, of course not. But I imagine it must be quite good for the soul, quite grounding. Just being what you are. No airs or pretense. Oh, you've missed a bit there on the left ear. Do be sure it comes out even.
Certainly, madam. I was reading in the paper this morning about what happened with Desiree Lathan. Did you hear about that?
Oh, such a tragedy. Poor Desi.
Yeah.
We hadn't talked in a long time, but how terrible to think of her dying in such a horrible way.
My condolences.
Thank you, dear.
Did you and Desiree used to be friends?
Yeah.
Oh, we were like sisters at one point.
What happened?
What else? A man got involved.
You were both after the same man?
No, quite the contrary. We both enjoyed being unattached and had vowed to keep it that way. The spinster sisters, we used to call ourselves. But I fell for a man a few years ago. We got married, and Desiree stopped speaking to me.
That's a shame.
Yes, especially considering the marriage only lasted a few brief months. I lost both my husband and my best friend. I'm sure there's a lesson to be learned in that.
I heard someone mention that Desiree had her portrait painted recently.
Yeah.
Yes, I heard that too. I think it was Caroline who told me. Yes, that was it, Caroline. She was looking for a portrait artist and told me Desiree had found one.
Oh.
Roger DeVay, I think she said his name was.
Roger DeVay? Sounds mysterious. Who is he?
Well, I don't know about mysterious. He's just an artist. Not a very good one either, from what I hear.
He didn't do a good job on the portrait?
Oh, no, he did fine. I just meant he hasn't really taken off. His paintings aren't worth very much, you see. But Desiree took a liking to him very quickly. Even went as far as giving him an extra key to her apartment. If there was anything more going on between them, I couldn't say. But she could have done a lot better, if you ask me. I mean, he's barely even an artist now. I heard he took a teaching position at the university. Now, who would want their likeness immortalized by a lecturer?
I see. Well, I hope he makes it in the world someday.
Yeah.
Miracles may happen.
Yeah.
I have to say, your musical selection for today is lovely.
It's nice to know someone like you can appreciate some of the finer points of culture. In case you were wondering, the piece is the Fourth Symphony by a composer named Theophilus von Wagner.
Yes, it's refreshing to hear the Fourth Symphony for a change. Most people know von Wagner for his Fifth Symphony or his Lute Concerto in D minor.
Oh, you know von Wagner?
Although I admit he isn't one of my favorite Baroque composers, I can appreciate what he brought to the movement. I'm more in favor of Scaravaldi. His development of the Concerto Grosso makes for a much richer musical tapestry. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, well, perhaps so.
Do you have any favorites among Scaravaldi's works?
His First Symphony is quite riveting.
Do you mean his Concerto for Mandolin? He didn't have a First Symphony as such.
Well, yes. That's what I meant. As much as I enjoy chatting, perhaps you should concentrate on what you're doing, dear.
Quite chilly out today, isn't it?
Yes, a good day for spending indoors.
Mindy.
Probably means we'll be getting an earlier winter.
It's a good thing I bought a new set of coats, then.
Good. I think that's all finished.
Thank you, Adelaide. It was a pleasure, as always.
Likewise, Miss Robinow. I'll see you next week.
And I think with that...
And she didn't tip very well, either.
I'm sorry, dear. She sounds positively dreadful.
No more than the other Gascon Grand Dames. I just hope you managed to get something useful from that.
Indeed. Well, and I think with that, we're going to save the game and continue this the next time round. We have more leads, and we can use them. And we found out a lot more information, and eventually I think we're going to be able to get to talk to those lawyers. I do think we can do that. However, until next time, this is Rich Gale here on YouTube, Rich Gen X elsewhere, and I hope you've watched to the end. As always, I welcome you to subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and check out some of the other things up on the channel. I have a series of point-and-click playthroughs on there, which includes I Have No Mouth and I'm Scream, The Flight of the Amazon Queen, brilliantly funny game. Kathy Rain, A Detective is Born, a very fun game, and I hope to get the director's cut when it comes out. And there's some others up on the channel. You might be interested in the Tomb Raider franchise. I'm currently working... I plan to play through the almost all of the core design storyline or timeline. I will stop when I hit the end of Chronicles, but I'm currently working on Last Revelation. I'm also working my way through the Sherlock Holmes series by Frogwares. I am working on the second game released, which at the time of this recording is currently the it's currently the 5th in the series internal timeline. I'm also working my way through Alien vs. Predator, the Aliens campaign. And I plan, once I get done with that, I'll be doing the Predators campaign. I already completed the Marines campaign. I am working my way through the Henry Stickmin collection. I'm on the final part of that, which is completing the mission, and it has many ways to go about it. I am also working my way through The Witness, a nice relaxing little game. I am working my way through the Zork franchise, which is, there's a lot of reading with that, because, and I'm trying to make my way through a game called Double Finucci. I have a feeling I might be doing a few episodes of that, unless I can figure things out how to win that game easy. I am working my way, but I'm working on Zork Zero in that one. That's the first in the game's timelines, in the series timeline. And I am also working my way through Gibbous, a Cthulhu adventure, which is very fun. It has a snarky cat in it, and we're making some progress in that. But until next time, you have a good one all, and we will be continuing the third case in our next installment of this. Again, this is Rich Kale here on YouTube, Rich Gen X elsewhere. Have a good one. Bye.